Hello YouTubers, this is Musicswhore here once again with another video I want to do. I've been wanting to do this ever since it came out, and even before it came out I've wanted to do this video. And I have to say right now that this album is maybe a very controversial album in a lot of music people's eyes, is where the band's going. And this one album I want to talk about right now is Super Collider by Megadeth. Yes. Now this came about because I heard a lot of negativity towards Super Collider, and especially some of the songs and how they sound and all that. And I even got people saying, like even people I'm subscribed to, saying that the name Super Collider should sound thrashy. It should be a thrash album. And which brings me to this Megadeth record, Rust in Peace. Every time Megadeth releases a record, they all want Rust in Peace. But will you always get Rust in Peace? I think Rust in Peace is one of those benchmarks a band hits that it can attempt to get to, but it'll never surpass Rust in Peace. Even Dave at his age and his health and all that, even with his hand surgery and everything. I don't think Dave touring this would be one of those albums that they would never be able, if it did go past Rust in Peace, could they play it live is the number one thing, and I don't think if they did do it, they could do it live. So then, but the album that this most likely for me really does remind me a lot of, Euthanasia. It is very rock, not very metal in sections. But is that a bad thing? I don't think so. And here's what I'll say, and I know people are gonna go off like, oh my god, it's Megadeth, it has to be thrash metal, thrash, thrash, thrash! But no, to me it's like, I can live with rock. I think Megadeth, and here's an analogy I'll use, and some people might get this analogy, some people this might go over their head and they're like, that doesn't make fucking sense. Megadeth is a career, and if they want to move on, Megadeth almost, this is their way of adding softer material to the Megadeth collection and all that. Now, the analogy I want to use, some music fans will get this analogy, and it reminds me a lot of Rod Stewart. When Rod Stewart went from doing his rock set to doing jazz songs and all that. At the time, I don't think a lot of people knew he had throat surgery or had cancer in his throat or whatever, and couldn't hit a lot of his rock songs anymore. So he went to jazz as a thing. Now for Megadeth, for me, this is like Dave saying, you want to know something? I might be getting sick of some of the songs I'm playing, or I just want to try something. It might not sound good to the fans, but it's at least something that breaks up the monotony. I know a lot of people hate the album 13. Quite personally, I didn't mind it. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't complete shit. It wasn't Lulu, which I know some people will discuss on that and say what you will. But it was not Lulu. It was Megadeth. Now, what do I say when I mean Megadeth? It was something Dave tried. It's a lot like Risk. He's going the Risk route with a lot of these last two albums. Now, Super Collider does remind me, though, a ton of Euthanasia in the fact, even Kingmaker, the opening song, sounds like something that'd be off Euthanasia. Super Collider, and I don't mind it. Like, the lyrical content on this album isn't the issue, I think, for a lot of people. I think it's the music. Well, lyrical content could be the concern on it, but Dave is Dave, and one thing about Dave Mustaine, he will not change if he's enjoying what he's doing or if he's experimenting. That's one thing about Dave he just doesn't do. And you could also make the argument for Metallica as well doesn't change their approach too much, except when they're going off the deep end with Saint Anger and Lulu, which I would even call Saint Anger a poor man's Euthanasia in a way that it just really lacked, I think, what Euthanasia had on its album. And people forget how actually successful Megadeth's Euthanasia actually was for Megadeth. So I think Dave was trying to recapture that, maybe just a little bit at a time. This album might be a precursor to what's coming next, but who knows? Honestly, my opinion, I enjoy the record. It's not terrible. There are some parts where it starts to getting, okay, Dave, yeah, maybe you continue the song a little bit too much or anything, but it's Dave. Like, in metal world, can you really complain about Dave if he wants to go do something different? I think that's where a lot of fans, especially metal fans, are very... I don't want to say this because it sort of labels a few of them and sort of combines them all into one. I think there are metal fans out there that are so short-sighted that see just, it's not metal, so it's not good. It's not metal, so it'll never be good. If it's not metal, it's gotta be metal, it's gotta be metal. But no, it's just not metal, so it's more rock. I don't mind rock Megadeth, because they can still write some really good songs. There is some good songs on that album, I find, but yeah. Enough of me rambling on. This is Musicswhore. Once again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Yes, and once again, peace.